Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? I get a lot of emails from people who hit me up because, they know that I'm in an open relationship and I talk about that a lot. And, I have people who say, Mr. Locario, how can a person actually have a successful monogamous relationship nowadays? Because they're saying like, well, people are always gonna seem like they want to cheat or they just want to hook up, and it seems like no one wants to be faithful nowadays and all this other stuff, right? So the thing that most people have to understand is that monogamy is not going to work for most people. Okay, it's not going to work out for most people, but people continue to try to be monogamous because of societal pressure. They feel like this is what they're supposed to do. This is what they're striving for. People want to be monogamous because of their ego, because of, they would feel jealous to know that someone they're with is also with somebody else, stuff like that. But usually what happens is people try to get into monogamous relationships and usually it doesn't work out because someone ends up cheating or someone ends up leaving the person they're with for somebody else. And, you see this a lot. So, you see people get married, end up divorcing because somebody cheated. You see people are boyfriend and girlfriend and then somebody ends up get with somebody else, or, so that's usually the outcome for most monogamous relationships. Right. And so the reason why usually monogamous relationships don't work is because what happens is that when you first get into that monogamous relationship, you have that new relationship energy. You're just like excited. You're like, oh man, this is great. This person's, it's fresh and it's new and it's adventurous. It's spontaneous. You're like all excited with this person. Then let's say, you guys keep seeing each other. You end up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever it is. And then, it goes from new relationship energy to old relationship energy. So this is when, you're consistently seeing the person. You're sort of getting used to the person. You're getting used to their habits. And you're just really like, you still like them. You still have feelings for them. You still love them and everything. But you're sort of in that stage where things are starting to get a little bit routine. Things are starting to get a little bit too familiar. Right. So that excitement you had at the beginning is not necessarily there. So you still love this person, you still want to be with this person, but it's not the same type of energy. So what happens is that you end up getting bored, right? So it's not necessarily like in a lot of cases the boredom type of thing where you're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs on the couch. But what happens is you get bored because you get so used to this person, you get used to how they are, you get used to their ways, they get used to your ways of doing things, and it gets sort of predictable. And it's just like, okay, I've been having sex with you for a while now, and I'm kind of used to this. You understand? And sometimes even if it's good, you're still so used to it that you basically get bored with the situation because you're so used to what's going on. Then what happens is that when people get bored and they get into that stage where it's like just this routine and this boring thing, they end up getting tempted to interact with other people. You see what I'm saying? And then this is where the cheating happens. And then once they get found out that they're cheating, their relationship is over, or some people try to keep it together, but then it ends up, being this thing where the other person doesn't trust the other person, and all of this drama and fights and all this other craziness goes down in the relationship, right? And not to mention, the thing is, when you're monogamous, what happens is that the person that you're with becomes your whole dating and relationship life. Meaning that, let's say you are with this girl, and for whatever reason, she just doesn't want to have sex with you, then you're pretty much done as far as sex at this moment, or whatever. She's mad at you. She's feeling sick or whatever the hell it is. She's out of commission for whatever reason. You can't have sex. I mean, you can cheat on her, but basically you're not supposed to. Therefore, you're shit out of luck in the sex department as far as having sex with a woman. You see what I'm saying? Also, too, what happens is that in this monogamous relationship and you're trying to, keep it together, what happens is that sometimes, people feel the pressure to sort of stay together. Let's say you get married, you have kids, you don't want to break up, even though you may be sort of sick of dealing with this person that you've been with. And a lot of times the reason why you end up, being sick of this person is because you're just basically around them all the time. You feel what I'm saying? And so, since you're spending all that time with that person, you sort of take them for granted, little things start to annoy you. And then you get into all these fights and all this other stuff. Right now, I don't want to paint this as, monogamy is just like this terrible thing or whatever. Right. But I want people to understand the reality of it is that it's not necessarily going to work out for most people. But if you are interested in having a monogamous relationship, I'm going to tell you some things that will make it feasible for this to work for you. Right now, this is the thing, one of the things that can make monogamy work for you is if you and your partner have a low sex drive. All right, I'm gonna say that again. If you and your partner have a low sex drive, monogamy may work in your favor. Right? Now, it can't just be one of you having a low sex drive. It has to be both of you having a low sex drive. Because what happens is that if both of you don't have such a high sex drive, then what happens is that the likelihood that you will cheat because you want to have sex with someone else is lower because you have the low sex drive and your partner has a low sex drive. Right now, some people will argue and say, well, no, we can have a high sex drive and just have sex with each other. Right. A lot. But what's going to happen is because you have the high sex drive, when you're around other people, right, in certain situations, because your sex drive is so high, you're going to be tempted to have sex with other people. Because what happens is that your mind is telling you, hey, I shouldn't be having sex with this other person who's not, with me, that I'm not with. But that urge to have that sex doesn't give a fuck about that. And this is why people end up cheating, because they're in monogamous relationships and they have a high sex drive, and then they're in situations where they're tempted to have sex with someone else. So if you and your partner have a low sex drive, then monogamy it's a good chance you can make this happen. The second thing you can do to make monogamy work is spending most of your time around that person. Now, I got to say something with this too, is that this basically will only work if you and that person has a low sex drive and y'all get along really well, meaning that you and this person hardly ever fight. Like it's just a sort of flow y'all have. So when you spend most of that time with that person, right, and you have that low sex drive, right, that's a good combination, because what's going to happen is that if you are with this person most of the time, right, what happens is that there's not this thought or this, assumption that the person you're with may end up, cheating on you. Right. Because this is the thing, even if you and a person have a low sex drive, but y'all aren't spending that much time together. Right. Or y'all are, y'all go, let's say your girlfriend is hanging out with her friends or whatever, and you're out doing whatever you want to do. There's a chance that she may be wondering, are you doing something on the side? And you may be wondering, is she doing something on the side? Because you're spending a lot of time away from each other. But if you're spending a lot of time with each other, it's kind of like, well, we do everything together. So it's kind of like, when would you be having time to do anything with anyone else? Because you're around me all the time. But at the same time, you and this person have to be able to be one of those couples who hardly ever fight, and it's just a really cool flow between you and the person. Because if you're the type of people that are fighting all the time and bickering all the time, that's not going to work with you and that person being together most of the time. You're not going to want to be together most of the time because you can't stand each other. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll eventually break up. So that's one of that's another one of the things. Now, another thing you can do to make sure that monogamy works for you is to limit the amount of interaction you have with the opposite sex. So this kind of goes with what I was saying earlier, is that you spend more time with this person. So you're limiting the amount of time that you would be interacting with other people of the opposite sex. Right? Because even if you have a girl and she has a low sex drive and you have a low sex drive, just having a low sex drive doesn't necessarily take away your desire to have sex. You just have a lower sex drive than most people. So what happens is that if your girl, let's say you have a girlfriend and y'all are monogamous, and let's say, she's like, there's this guy at my job named Mr. Locario. And he, he's cool. We were just hanging out. We got lunch together the other day, right? That's not a good thing, because Mr. Locario is going to try to fuck your girl. You know what I'm saying? So if you're cool with your girl hanging out with Mr. Locario, your girl's going to get fucked. Okay. And so now your girl's going to cheat on you because you've been okay with her hanging out with other dudes. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is this, is that, if you have that low sex drive, you spend, most of your time with the person you're with, and you limit the amount of interaction that you have with the opposite sex, then maybe monogamy may work for you. But other than that, it's going to be tough. I'm just letting you know now. So the problem with the whole monogamy thing is that we've been indoctrinated to, sort of believe in this happily ever after type of, like storyline, this sort of like, thing with the movies and media. And it's like, oh, find the perfect person, your soulmate, you'll be together forever. And, all that other stuff. And the thing is also what happens is that you see, situations with let's say your parents or your grandparents, and you're like, oh, but they've been together for 50 years and they've been together. Let me tell you something about your parents and your grandparents that they will never tell you. So let me tell you what they're not going to tell you. Most of your parents and grandparents have cheated on each other, but they decided to stick together. So there you go. So let that sink in. You understand? And so that's probably another thing too, is that, the monogamy could work if you accept the fact that, the person you're with may end up cheating on you. And if you want to take them back, that's on you. But that is what it is. So a lot of your parents, your grandparents, and your parents or whatever, they, you're like, oh, but they've been together for 20 years. They've been together for 30 years. They've been together for 40 years. You're right. But most of them have cheated on the person that they were with at least once. You see what I'm saying? So, the thing is, I'm not telling anyone to be in an open relationship. I'm not telling anyone to be in a monogamous relationship. I'm telling you, you need to understand what the reality is of all of this shit, and then make the best choice for you in whatever type of, thing you want to do. You understand what I'm saying? So that's really pretty much it, man. If you guys have any questions, make sure you click the link below, and I'll holler at you later. Remember, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone.
Now, before you turn off this video, I want you to do 3 quick things. 1, I want you to click the link below to send me a question. If you have a question on dating and relationships, I'll make a video about it. 2, I want you to click the link under that to get my free audio program, Undeniable Game, which teaches you 7 easy to follow tips on how to really attract beautiful women. And 3, I want you to click the link under that one to go to Bad Boy Membership, where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video dating advice tutorials every month.
What's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to Bad Boy Membership. badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy Membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90-minute, easy-to-follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract, date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy Membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.